Assalamu alaikum parents. This is the Year 6 Information Assessment meeting, and I have decided this year to do it in a video so that you have this for your reference nearer the time and that you can refer back to it if you so wish. So the aim of today's meeting is to ensure that you have the dates and that you have information about what the test is going to look like and the scores, what the scores are like, and what you can do to help your child. If after this presentation you feel you have some questions, please do contact me on my email. I'm just going to pause here for a minute while you write down these dates. These will be the dates that the SATS will be administered at our school, and these will be the only dates they will be administered because it is a national event and we have to stick to the national timings. So, scaled scores, what does it mean? So, they have deemed that the score 100 represents national standard. So each child will be given a raw score. This will be converted into a scale score, and it will be either at 100, below 100, or above. If your child is at national standard, they will receive a score of 100, and they will have demonstrated sufficient knowledge in the subject that has been tested. And in July, these results will be published and your child will receive a raw score, a scaled score, and confirmation of whether they have met national standard or not. So when your child gets their reports in July, they will be added, the information will be added into that report. And so if they score 100, they are meeting national standard. If they score above, they are exceeding national standard. And if they score below 100, they are not meeting age-related national standard. So just to give you a bit of an idea about the actual testing process, everything will have to be done in a series of steps. So what I mean by that is we won't be able to, we will have a certain time where we can open the tests. The tests need to be stored in a secure place. We have got a time and steps on how we have to administer the tests and how much time we give each of the subjects, and we're not allowed to go over. So here you can see what each test is going to be for how long, and you will see that these tests will be externally marked, so we will send them off to get marked. And just so that you know, writing is teacher assessed externally. However, members of the local borough come in, the consultants come in to check that our judgments are correct, and they monitor our books. And if they deem that they are correct, they'll let us know. And if they deem they are incorrect, they will move our judgments down. If your child is receiving additional time, you would have had some communication with me about that. Okay, so moving on to the reading, this will be a paper which will have 3 unrelated reading texts. Roughly, they've got 60 minutes to read and answer the questions. They are designed for understanding a child's reading and assessing comprehension. And there are various ways in which they will do this through multiple choice, a select an answer, a short answer required, and sometimes detailed answers required. For the SPAG, there will be a spelling test that would be administered, which is about 20 words, and that will be 15 minutes. Then there'll be an additional test focusing on punctuation, vocabulary, and grammar, and this is about 45 minutes. And they're short questions. Some of them are including a multiple choice. Then these two tests will be added together to give an overall score. And here you can see an example of a question, and you can see that the important words are in bold. So it's really good to start talking to your children about the tricks of answering questions, reading the bold, reading the important information. And first of all, before doing anything, it's understanding what is required. Here is another sample. Again, the words are in bold, and they're asking them to underline. In terms of maths, there'll be 3 papers. There'll be an arithmetic paper, which will gradually increase in difficulty. Then there will be 2 papers around problem solving and reasoning, and they will be required to require their calculation skills to answer the question and find a solution. Here are some examples of questions for your information. Again, you can see that the bold, the black is showing you that it's an important word. And there is space around so that you can always they can do their working outs and jottings. Unlike a reading paper where the teachers cannot read the questions to them, with maths, we are very fortunate. We will be reading the questions to them if the child requires it. So that gives them that additional support. And basically, we will read what is on the actual paper. We will not be allowed to rephrase. It's a good idea to talk to them about how many marks each question is so that they understand the depth they are required to provide. Here you can see it's a 2-mark question, which means we need an answer and working out. So please encourage them to show their working out because they are quite reluctant to do that. How can we help our children with writing? Ensure that they are completing their spelling tests that they have been provided with, and they are practicing writing within sentences. We use the Joe Sterling approach, so it's really important that children are consistent with their spellings because that will help them to gain extra marks for writing. In the actual marks for the writing, spelling is actually quite a big part of it. Recently, we've been looking at the children's writing, and the stamina for writing is not there. So they're good at writing. They've got most of the components of writing, but their writing is very short. So that's something we need to encourage our children to do, is to write for longer and add the depth and the detail. I would urge you to speak to your child about the writing criteria that we provide them with, because they need to know what parts of the writing criteria they need to work on in order to gain their age-related expectations. So each age-related expectations has a set of criteria they have to meet. These are available for parents, so please do ask your class teacher. Encourage them to check their spellings and use thesaurus, etc., to expand their vocabulary. And they can use the word processor to edit and correct. Please remember that if they are reading, they will become good writers, because it's through the text that you read that you transfer this to your writing. So the language and the sentence structure and the punctuation that they see through their reading, it's meant to be then transferred to their writing. So the more they read, the more they take in their book, the better their writing will be. Nationally, writing is really hard to gain those higher levels. So please do give your children lots of praise and encouragement, and praise for their little successes. Okay, in terms of maths, timetables is everything. So it's really important they have that speed and recall with their times tables, that they're playing mental maths games with a set time limit, because time with maths is very important. All of our children are good at maths, but it's being good at maths within the time limit that we have to work on. Find opportunities to do maths practically. So telling the time, you can work out if you're going to take a train and how long will it take to get there and what time will it be. All those type of things as you're going out, if you're going to visit a museum and you're going to walk and then take a train. So create problems, word problems that you can solve within your day. And the same with allowing children to handle money, find out amounts, calculate change, work out the shopping list, if shopping total, and see how much change is required. If you do these things practically, then it doesn't really feel burdensome on them. It's really important to ensure that they are working to time. Okay, so when you are practicing maths questions at home, which I hope you will do, is that you time the children and not think that, and so that they don't think they have lots of time. Encourage your children to explain their answers, because then it becomes a concrete in their understanding, and encourage them to show they're working out on paper. All these things we are working on with them in school, but it's just good to relay this information to you at home. Okay, reading. Reading is something within our school, is a whole school focus, and it has been for 2 years. It's really important that we are reading consistently every day. And it seems to be a pattern that as they go through the older year groups, that the consistency in reading drops. It's really important they keep that up, because that's how they get the vocabulary for writing. That's how they get the understanding of answering questions. And we do have our recommended book lists if you are concerned about the text types that they are reading. It is important that they read for pleasure, but alongside that, they choose a book that is challenging with high quality language in it. The tests will be focusing their comprehension. So it's not just about them reading, it's about them reading with understanding and reading with speed. So it's really important that the children have comprehension practice at home, and they have a time limit attached to that. It's really important they understand how to extract the answer effectively, how to gain an understanding in how to go directly to where they think it is, to skim and read the text and extract the answer. All of these reading strategies we teach at school, so it's important for you to assist them with these strategies. And if you are unsure, please do ask your class teacher. Okay. How can we help our children generally with these tests? Okay, especially if they have been doing 11 plus for a long time and they are now absolutely exhausted. It's really important as role models, you encourage them to be prepared for these tests. Reassuring them not to worry and giving them lots of praise and encouragement. If you decide that they're not important, then they're not going to perform well. So it's really important that we give these equal weighting to any other tests that we have been doing. It's really important that your child keeps up with the homework tasks and is consistent in handing in homework, that you are practicing your reading, spelling and arithmetic, the times tables, and that will help. To talk to your child about what they have learned at school, because that recap is really important. To make sure your child has a good sleep and a healthy breakfast every morning, and that there is a good routine to ensure stability. So within the times where the SATs are going on from the 9th of May, please ensure that your diaries are not booked with social occasions and they are in a good routine, going to bed early. Please ensure that there are no changes at home, and support your child during the week by encouraging them and getting lots and lots of practice beforehand. Okay, obviously we have a Ramadan break and we have the April break. So it's really important that at home, you are keeping up the practice. Otherwise, everything we're doing at school will be wasted. It's important that you're not studying for hours on revision books and pouring lots of time into that. Short 20 to 30-minute blasts of work is good. Give them a break, and then they can resume with another short 20, 30 minutes. Because an average child's attention span is around 10 minutes, and then it diminishes for the next minute after. Turn things into quizzes and races against time so that it becomes fun, okay? Times tables are really important to do as well, because everything revolves around teaching them that. But they have to also understand it as well. There are lots of revision books out there, so I would recommend that you do use past SATS papers, questions, or revision books to avoid last-minute panic. We have been doing revision papers as well, periodically through the year, and we are obviously doing our internal assessments as well. But they will need that practice, because half of the battle is not that they don't know the answers and the content, it's a race against time. It's being able to answer the questions effectively and efficiently within the time provided. Okay, Assalamu alaikum parents, I hope that's been helpful. And if you have any more questions, you can always ask.